Bird poop, also known as bird feces, is one of the greatest enemies for people who have cars as well as those who just simply walk in the middle of the road. Good morning, honorable educator, advisors, friends, teachers, and also parents, ladies and gentlemen. While bird droppings may be an inconvenience for all of us, especially for people who have cars and also pedestrians who only walk in the middle of the road, their presence signals the vitality of the avian population. Yet the troubling decline of these species demands urgent action. Realized or not, the world has lost many birds, and more will vanish if we do not act. Could that very same bird poop that we find so irritating actually be a sign of their abundance? According to Matthew's 2024, 610 bird species have gone extinct, and according to Bolam 2021, the extinction rate would increase by 2.9L to 4.2 times if there is no robust conservation efforts. So why are this disappearance of these birds such an important event? Or why are these birds such important beings? Let's take the dodo bird as an example. Extinct since the 17th century, having a role as a seed disperser, nutrient cycle, and biodiversity indicator. It played a critical role in its ecosystem. Birds today serve as ecological couriers, dispersing seeds to sustain forests and also food chains. Imagine a world where mail carriers cease to deliver mail packages. Commerce would falter just as ecosystem would suffer without birds. And this urgency inspired my research question, which is how do Singaporeans and Indonesians perceive the role of zoos in the conservation of birds? This inquiry supports the United Nations 15th Sustainable Development Goal, which is life on land, which champions the protection of terrestrial ecosystems. So which organization is actually responsible for the conservation of these birds? The answer is clear and simple. All of us bears responsibility, with zoos playing a pivotal role and a very important role being more than just refuge. Dating back 4,500 years ago when zoos were only a place for entertainment according to Winaryo 2024. Today, their mission encompasses two different things, which is direct impact and indirect impact. Direct impact being a sanctuary for animals and introducing ant species back to the wild, and indirect impact being including public education and being a place for research. So what was found from researching the past year, taking 40 respondents from Indonesia and Singapore, 40 each, and one interviewee each from each country. The result reveals that both populations increasingly recognize zoos as centers for education and conservation. Not just entertainment, on a scale of importance, respondents rated zoos at an average of 3, indicating a growing awareness of their broader contributions. Moving on, let's separate the data into two. In Singapore, the involvement of zoos score for zoos conservation efforts was 3.53 compared to Indonesia with 2.64. The likelihood of donating to zoo-led initiatives was also higher in Singapore, which is 2.83, and then in Indonesia, 2.4. So what does this data represent? The first dataset reflects societal progress in understanding zoos' roles, while the second highlights perceptions of local institutions, Surabaya Zoo in Indonesia and Bird Paradise in Singapore. The disparity suggests that transparency influences public trust. Singapore's Bird Paradise provides accessible information fostering a confidence, whereas Surabaya Zoo's conservation programs, though present, lack visibility, potentially reducing the public support. To conclude, both zoos still have room to develop. However, Surabaya still has much to develop. Let me show you a picture. The right one is Surabaya Zoo and the left one is Bird Paradise. This shows a significant difference from two different places In bird paradise, there is a good amount of space and a good ratio between space and also the amount of population in it. Also, on top of that, the quality of vegetation could be seen. On the other hand, in Surabaya, we could see the overpopulating in the enclosures. However, just comparing by what we can see is unfair. One thing that a lot of people didn't understand about Surabaya Zoo is that it has actually one more role, which is becoming a heritage building or a cultural heritage area since the Dutch era, which means they cannot really change a lot of things. On the other hand, Bird Paradise is a newborn baby which just born in 2020, which they literally can change everything and can immediately change their infrastructure if they need to. So their problem is far beyond what we can see, and they're trying their best to develop themselves. To address these challenges, Surabaya Zoo could develop its unused land into modern enclosures, improving animal welfare and visitor experiences. Both zoos should leverage social media to enhance transparency and educate the public about their conservation efforts, thereby fostering trust and support. But what can we do, ladies and gentlemen, as a society? The answer is plenty and again, simple. Simple actions reducing waste, recycling, and proper waste management can significantly contribute to environmental health. Supporting through donations or advocacy can amplify their conservation impact. Both Surabaya Zoo and Bird Paradise play a vital role in bird conservation, yet their challenges differ. Surabaya's dual role as a cultural heritage site adds complexity, but its undeveloped land offers opportunities for it to grow. Bird Paradise, with its advanced infrastructure, must prioritize public engagement. In conclusion, these two zoos are slightly different but have significant impact. Surabaya Zoo's cultural heritage role complements its conservation mission, while both institutions strive to protect avian species. As Genesis verse 26 said, reminds us that God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so what they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." We are entrusted with stewardship of the cursed earth creatures, so let us, ladies and gentlemen, conserve birds responsibly and also safeguard our future's planet. Thank you.